welcome to the J-Train podcast. This is J-Train, Jared Freid, coming to you live from the quarantine cabin on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We're here every single day with your J-Train podcast, your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. I'll say it one more time for the people in the back. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you. That's how it all works. You tell a friend, they get involved, they support the sponsors, they support this show. That's the circle of feathers. That's how you touch my nuts. It feels so good when you make it your Instagram story. That's all you got to do. Make it your Instagram story. Tag a friend, tag a bitch, anyone with ears, a mama, a papa, a brother, a sister. I'm very excited about today's guest, an OKP, original key player. Allison Leiby, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm having you. I'm having you over Zoom.
It's great to be here, but it's not because I'm still home.
Yeah. How has home been? I think it's only natural to start these episodes off with, tell us about your quarantine life.
I mean, it's fine. I'll say, before I complain, I'm healthy. Everyone I know is healthy. It's all.
I think that's kind of the premise of this podcast is we get into issues. Like, if anyone showed up to the J-Train podcast party, they'd be like, none of you have problems. like this is, no. So I agree.
So I understand, we have, but I'll go into my new,
sure.
This annoys me, but understand.
But that's what we want to hear. Everything's fine, but why is everything awful?
I mean, I live alone in a little box, a little one-bedroom box. So I'm by myself 24 hours a day. I've turned myself, I think I've reached my final form, which is a golden retriever. I have to I take myself out for walks, and then I come home and I'm like, you get a piece of cheese. It's just,
yes, you are officially, well, I guess the reality of living alone becomes more living aloneness.
Yes, I saw somebody in a Washington Post article was it's like taking a cold shower. It just highlights all of the worst parts of living alone.
I saw that same article and only read the head. You know how they do now? They'll post a tweet.
A full quote. Yeah.
And then they'll pull 7 quotes from it. And it was but it was such a weird premise that I guess the premise was 10 women of 10 different ages tell you what it's like to live alone during, and why it was there's no male article like that.
No, because all those men are dead.
It's fair.
I'm so worried about, I don't mean from corona, I don't mean from disease. I mean, I'm worried about the single men we know who live alone, who have never used their stove.
They're eating the cheese in a very different way than you are. You're I'll come home and have some Gruyere. They're coming home to a block of American and just chomping on that and going, well, that's my dinner tonight.
Yeah, handful of shredded to the face.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I feel that's what men are doing.
Yeah, that would be my reality. If I was living alone, it would be I think the fridge would look very divorced dad. That's the thing, the divorced dad fridge.
Yes.
That's a real thing. That is something that you go to this place and you see it. You see ketchup, deli meat.
Just condiments.
Yeah, ketchup, all the condiments, and deli meat, and a what?
And old old Chinese food.
Yes, and then a 6-pack with one of them missing.
Yes.
And that person, is living through this too.
Yes. And that's because I'm a very good cook. I know how to make food.
If anyone is out there and you don't follow Allison, go follow her right now. One, because she's hilarious, at Allison Leiby on Instagram, but also your food content, you're putting out things Jess will turn to me and go, did you see what Allison had for lunch? That is a real conversation in this house because you're one of those people. Yeah, you'll see people dinner fine, But you'd be like, did you see what Allison made for a midday snack? And you're like, I got to get into these ingredients.
It's all very easy. Like, I'm not like skilled as like a actual.
Yeah, but that's a cooking show. Like that, you know, there's you know, just like there's like Bobby Flay on Cooking on Food TV, on Food Network. Right. There's also like Snacks with Allison. Like people would watch that show.
I want that show. I want to do that show. So I've been like eating well. I started running because I was that bored. I was like, I guess I'll run now. I don't know. Is this my new personality?
Sure.
So that's been awful, but I guess good.
But that's the thing. Like, there's this I love the internet because you can kind of watch it like you watch the ocean go in and out. Like it starts with like, it's the tides of the internet, because the tides start with, okay, let's get on my my quarantine game. I'm gonna write the next great American novel, and then they get pulled back with people going, you don't have to write the great American novel, where the reality is somewhere in between.
Yeah, you'll get stuff done when you can. I don't know. My perspective on quarantine is like, do things as you can handle them. Like,
yes,
there are days where I'm like, I should take myself out. I should go for a walk or a run. And I just like can't do it. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, that's all right. You're allowed.
Yeah, I do a lot of, like my brother and I used to do this when we lived together. We'd like look at it, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but we'd look at each other like on a Saturday, and and I'd be on my phone, he'd be on the computer, and I would go, do you want to get a bacon, egg, and cheese? And he'd be like, is that the day? Because like bacon, egg, and cheese is like day's over. You're not going for your run.
No. Yeah. Once you've done it, that's it. You've picked it's a choose your own adventure. You've picked your trajectory.
You're going to chapter fat.
Yeah.
And
we're having a beer at 3. That's happening. You know?
That's happening. That's the adventure you've chosen. But like, so we go, is it a wash? Is today a wash? And like, I think that's okay to go like I do have the feeling, I have that gnawing feeling, and I think a lot of people who lost work have this feeling. I think that's like a very specific group. Like, if you're out there and you haven't lost any work and the only difference is the type of pants you're wearing, we don't need to hear from you.
Don't care about your experience.
Don't really care. You can be a part of the party, but I don't need you on the mic.
Yeah.
So like,
do you have a schedule and responsibilities and something keeping your life somehow tethered to reality? Oh,
yes.
Cool. Good luck with that. I don't care.
Good for you. And like, so I have this gnawing thing, and I think anyone who has lost work, like you or I, and a lot of people out there,
yes,
at 8:00, where you're like, did I have a day? Did I do enough? Did I achieve something to be valuable? Yeah. Was there an end? And I do have that moment like I had with my brother where I'll go, pick up the wine glass. It's a wash. Done.
Yeah.
Day's over.
Yeah. I mean, there are days where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bleach my apartment. I'm going to pitch a freelance piece. I'm going to make a healthy dinner, and I haven't had a night where I haven't drank, but I've had nights where I've drank less. So one of those.
Yes.
I've been drinking every
drink less nights.
Where you're like, oh, I only had a half a bottle of wine. What am I, like the head of AA? Like,
well, we're pumped to have you, Allison. Always a pleasure. Everyone go follow Allison on Instagram at Allison Libby. She's fantastic and hilarious. A writer on the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Is there new episodes? What's going on?
I mean, the first 3 seasons, you can binge them on Amazon.
There you go.
We were supposed to go back to start writing season 4 in the middle of March. So we are not doing that.
So, to like let people into that world, like when I reschedule shows, you don't get paid until you leave the show after they're done.
Yeah.
How does that work? Do they say like, hey, we're suspended, paycheck
we
stop?
got an email. They're obviously like, the show likes to take care of people, and I know that they will, and we'll find ways to like but like right now I'm just not working and not earning any money. So we'll pick up, I think their plan is like by June, something is happening.
Well, there's I think this is the stresses that a lot of people feel in the freelance and in the I don't have a contract world. Is like, the lucky part is you're a part of a fantastic show that's popular, that people love.
Right.
The tough part is, with any stoppage of work for something like that, the people in power get to go, do we like everyone here?
Right.
Like they get that.
My deal was already closed for season 4, so I was like, that's fine. Whenever it is. But I feel like, obviously, like, writers we make too much money, and that's great, but like, I'm fine if we wait a couple months. But like, I feel bad for the crew. We were like gonna start shooting, so now they have and all the PAs.
So this, but
it'll be coming back. There will be more episodes. Season 4 will happen. It's just gonna be later than everybody is happy with.
Yeah, I don't, I know I think these subjects are uncomfortable. I could talk to you. We're good friends. So like, talking to you about this I think it's nice for people to hear, like I think, like, right now there's a lot of emotion. Like, I keep seeing this person online that is allowing themselves to be on the good team by saying, stay the fuck home. And you go, all right, well, we're done with that now. Like, we're not done with stay home.
We did it. We stayed home.
Yeah.
Like, now, we need to financially take care of some people.
Yes. There needs to be plans being made. And I think, like I saw this video, and I talked about it on Patreon a little bit. There's this girl, and she's walking around with a 6-foot stick, and her boyfriend's taping her, and basically being like, 6 feet doesn't mean just like when we feel like it. And it's like, and then he posted another video being like, I'm getting a lot of hate for this. It's like, yeah, because you're the fucking problem. Like,
also, that's
like,
everyone's relationship.
Yeah, like, everyone's trying. You're walking around with a fucking stick, and so that you can go, anyone this touches is a bad person.
Right.
Like, we're all like, the thing is, like, what gets wrapped up in all this is, like, there's the far right, far left, and everyone thinks those are the ones when most of us are in the middle just trying to fucking make this work.
Also, like, that's like that kind of person will take zero responsibility for her action. Like, it's like, you're out.
Yeah.
Stay home. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing? You don't have to.
But she's got the stick. Yeah. Let's get to the emails. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Am I taking coronavirus dating too seriously?
Yes.
Jared, thanks for already. You've emailed the dating podcast about it. Yeah, it's getting me through this long quarantine. So right before all this, I had just turned 25 and said I was going to put myself out there in dating. I want something more serious, and that doesn't make me constantly question where I stand with someone. Just recently stopped texting with a guy who I matched with on Bumble after 3 months, which started in January. We had tried to make plans a couple of times before all of this, but it never panned out. He's a nurse, so I get that he was busy, especially once this all started, but we talked every day, so I didn't read too much into it. I tried to hint at calling /FaceTime, said he would, but never talked about it more. A week or so later, I brought it up more directly, and he said he'd call the next day. Haven't heard from him since, so I deleted him off of everything since I took that as a not wanting to take the same things and didn't want to keep contact, something I would never have done so quickly. A few weeks have gone by, and I've jumped back on the apps, but it seems like every guy is just looking for a quarantine or a quarantine and chill situation. I'm trying to be positive about dating right now, but it doesn't look promising. Do you think I'm taking things too seriously given the situation? If so, was I too hard on the last guy? How do I show myself as someone looking for something serious on the apps, especially right now? Any and all advice would be appreciated. Love from the West Coast. Allison, any thoughts?
I got a lot of thoughts.
Please.
I think that, like, no one's trying to start something serious and new right now, because I think no one wants new anything. I think that, like, people are like, this is comfortable. My life is, like, people want, like, of course that guy, and, like, you haven't had sex with that guy. Like, he doesn't want to be your pen pal. Like, nobody wants pen pals. Like, I feel starting new stuff right now feels like, at least personally, I'm just like, who would want to, like, add a new complicated factor into, like, what's already an uncomfortable lifestyle?
Yeah.
I understand people want a connection, but like it's so fake because you're not seeing each other. Like it's just, I mean, it's
sure.
It's just messaging and messaging and messaging and maybe FaceTiming for what might be months.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that perspective is important where it's like we do want the things we know. That's why a lot of people are like, hey, let's just do this as a quarantine thing. Like, let's match up so we can like someone to cuddle type of thing.
Yeah. But like, I don't think that like now is a time where a lot of people are like, I mean, it's too hard to you're starting a long distance relationship.
She wrote something very specific. I want something more serious. Right before this, I had turned 25 and said I was going to put myself out there in dating. That is like such a mandate that it makes this all less fun anyways. Yeah. And I know women do that thing a lot. They're like, okay, I'm done with all the bullshit. I'm serious dater now.
Right.
And they like add it as like, this is part of my job. Yeah. And it's like, I don't think that's ever going to work. I do think what she did right and what she did is correct. I think she was like, saying to yourself, I want something, which she did also write this. I want something more serious that doesn't make me constantly question where I stand with someone.
Totally.
I think that those are two different sentences. One of them sucks, and that second sentence is fantastic. Yeah. She should write it on her wall. She should put it in her notebook. She should write it in cursive and put her name next to it like she's fucking Carrie Bradshaw, because that is your standard.
Yes.
That is okay. So when she says, did I leave?
You should want that. That is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Good thing.
And here's what happens in relationships. If you're being lied to, you start going, I'm so confused. The confused one is the one being lied to.
Right.
So like for her, where she's being honest, she goes, let's go back to her situation. She's dating this nurse. They never got the date together. And then she brings up FaceTiming, and then he goes, yeah, I'd love to do that. And then it never happens. She's the one being lied to. That's why she's like, wait a minute. He said he would do it. Now he's not doing it. Yeah, because your standards aren't being met and he is the one lying. You're the one being honest.
Yes.
So I think for this person, I think it's okay to keep going out there and realize that most people don't want what you're looking for in a dating app.
Right. And probably less so right now.
Exactly.
In a normal.
So when you meet someone and you go, I'm so confused. Okay, that means that person wants to, invite you over to see your nipple or some shit, and you want something different.
That's the only.
Yeah. Just
show me the nipple. Okay, now you can leave.
I'm good. That's all I needed. Weirdest fetish of all time. That's weirder than feet. Just let me see the nip. You may go.
Just one.
A single nip. That's what gets me. But I think like for her, like I would also encourage her, and I've been giving this advice. I am a pro FaceTiming person. I'm a pro doing whatever you'd like to do to like make this connection further in whatever way you can.
Yes.
What I'm also pro of doing, and this is kind of something I've like rethought of recently, why don't you just open up a bunch of conversations and see who comes back when this all ends? Hey, take my number. When this ends, shoot me a text. That is effort. That's them remembering you, going, oh, I have that girl's number. And at that point, you can go goodbye and then let it's kind of like taking, it's like taking a net and drudging the ocean and then going, oh, look what came back. Like it puts it in a position where you're not constantly like keeping up. You can at any point with a conversation, at any point with someone you've never met, you can go, hey, this was a lot of fun. Here's my number. When this all ends, let me know if you want to get a drink. Yes.
But I think that's like great advice. And I think that people will pick up, like, not like, I think a lot of people like ended things for quarantine and were like, phew, great. Yeah. Good timing. But like, I do think that like people will come back, like when there's some sense of normalcy and you can like see a person and get on the subway or go to get a drink, like people will pick back up a little bit.
I think what the quarantine does is exactly what you said. Like, it puts you face to face with reality sooner than you maybe want to hear the reality. Yeah. So, like, you saying, like, hey, send me a text whenever, and then they don't. Guess they didn't want to go on a date with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sucks to hear that, but this is I'm trying to give like an actionable way to be like, okay, let those people go out. They'll come back if they come back. We are sponsored, people. The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Self. Credit is one of those things in life where if you don't have it or you have bad credit, it can feel impossible to build. It's a catch-22. You can't build credit if you don't have payment history. Say your roommate has been paying all the light bills for the last 4 years. They get the credit and you get none. Some people think the fastest way to start building credit is to open up a store credit card, but that's risky and it costs you a lot of money up front. Now there's a new way to build credit. It's called Self. Self's credit builder account lets you build credit with no credit checks. It's basically a loan that you pay back through small monthly payments that fit your budget. That's the biggest thing. You get the store credit card, you build it up, and you go, "Oh, I'm Mr. Bloomingdale's." No. You got to pay all that back. With Self, you can set the amount that works for you to build that's specifically for your financial health to build credit. That's the whole game here. Self's credit builder account lets you build credit with no credit checks. It's basically a loan that you pay back through small monthly payments that fit your budget. That's a big deal. Making those payments that you won't feel will build up your credit history, but that's not all. The best part is once your account is paid off, you will have savings set aside minus interest and fees. So your base, it's forced savings. They're saying to you, pay this amount a month, and in a couple years, you're going to have good credit, plus here's the extra money that you put away. Boom. If you want to buy a car, rent your place, or even own a home, recession's a good time to buy. You need a good credit history. So credit helps you lower fees and better interest rates. Self is accessible. There's no hard pull on your credit, and they report to all credit bureaus. Start building your credit history today with Self. Get started in just 5 minutes at self.inc/JTrain. That's self.inc/JTrain, self.inc/JTrain, and do it for yourself. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Allison Leiby at Allison Leiby on Instagram. Go. Do I have a chance post-quarantine? Jared, Feather. I'm a pretty recent listener from the quarantine, and you have been making my drives to work so much more bearable as I'm still required to come into work regularly. I have a question for you that I would like your opinion on. I started talking to this guy I met on Hinge back in February, went on 5 dates, and I seriously have never hit it off with someone more in my life. I was expecting things to continue to progress, however, the coronavirus kind of threw things off track. We had plans to hang out the week of the lockdown got serious, and he ended up going home to stay with his family and let me know that he would reach back out when he came home a week later. However, things continue to worsen, so he is still there and hasn't come back. I tried to text him to check in and got one reply back before he ghosted and haven't heard from him since. My question is, should I let this slide because of COVID and reach back out after all this is over and chalk it up to things being weird right now, or do you think he's not interested? I really thought he liked me, and he was so thrown off, and I was so thrown off when this happened. Hope you can help. What do you think?
I think she should reach out to him when things are more normal. I think I like, while like, yes, like everybody's like, what, you're just with your phone. Like people who aren't texting back or aren't replying are just like deeply not interested in you. I don't 100% think is true. I think that you don't know how people handle scenarios like this. I personally know just based on the fact that he went home to his family. If I go to my parents' house, like nothing is working right. Like I'm a mess.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like on top, like I'm not checking my email regular. Like there's like a lot of things that like when you're off your routine, things will fall apart. And like a newer relationship is one of the first things I feel like will kind of fall to the wayside when you're like scrambling to like have some sense of normalcy. Like it doesn't mean that he is 100% in love with her. And the second she texts when things are normal and he's back, it'll be like perfect. But I think like, yeah, text him. What's the worst that happens? He doesn't text you back, then you know.
Sure. And I think what you said about like when things get, the first thing that falls off is like the kind of girl that you're not sure about because you're not responsible for them. During this quarantine, you went to the things that you're responsible for and you took care of them. I would say to her also that what you did at the beginning of this quarantine and where you did it says a lot about your lifestyle. So like when we're, Allison and I in the beginning are joking around about the things in the guy's fridge and chomping on a block of cheese because he has no fucking, he's never turned on a stove. This guy that went home to spend it with mommy and daddy, he's closer to the younger lifestyle than he is a more mature lifestyle. And I don't mean to like people out there listening from their parents' basement. I'm just saying that's a normal thing to do, but it kind of shows your maturity level.
Yeah.
And where you stand. If you needed to go, if I went to I could go to my parents. I could have gone to them and stayed with them but I didn't. I'm thinking right now, like maybe a year ago I would have. Like maybe I'm more mature. Like now I'm, like I just moved in with my girlfriend. I'm living with her. Like this is like
as long as there's a woman in charge, men are okay.
But I'm saying like that is a moment of maturity that I see in myself. I know that when I was 25, I would have gone home, sat at the pool, fucking, gone to my parents' place, sat at their pool, fucking laid out, worked out every day. I would have had a Florida life.
Yeah.
And it would have been me getting my laundry done for me.
Right.
And so I'm saying like, I agree with you. Send him a text after this is all said and done. But he revealed his maturity level and where he's at. So don't be surprised that if you do get back with him, 6 months after you get back with him, he goes, I'm not ready for a relationship. Because this guy isn't ready to do his own life on his own, never mind pick you up as a responsibility.
Right. But yeah, send a text.
Yes, but send a text. Why not? JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Allison Leiby at Allison Leiby on Instagram. Go follow. I keep looking down at my recorder because I'm at one thing of battery life, but I think like the 8 nights of Hanukkah will be okay.
Yeah.
Jerking off question.
Perfect.
We get them all. Dear Jared, my girlfriend just introduced me to your podcast, and I'm already a fan. Totes preach. My girlfriend and I are moving in together soon, and I'm starting to get worried about my jerking off routine. Living alone, especially during quarantine with free Pornhub Premium, I've gotten used to doing it whenever and wherever I'd like. I love the thought of him like, whoa, anywhere. The apartment is my wasteland, my kingdom to spread seed wherever it shall go.
Also, I love the free Pornhub Premium. Like it's just so specific.
It's great. Well, I'm sure I'll be doing it less once we're living together. He writes, i.e. more sex. Full time. I'm still wondering how to handle this once we're living together. She's aware that I do it, but any advice from how you've adjusted to living with your girlfriend and when it comes to jerking off? Do I just sneak off?
I do
it. She's aware. She knows it's involved in my life.
I do it.
I do it. Do I just sneak off to the bathroom and take a longer shower? Thanks for the quarantine laughs. I love this email. It's fully aware. It's he's right. This is an issue. This is an issue I'm dealing with. And I'm not even experienced enough in the girlfriend living situation to even give great advice. I can tell you what I've done. Allison, any thoughts on this? Yeah, it's still fresh.
I've never lived with anyone, and I also masturbate a lot, so I don't know what any. I think like part of me is like, I think he'll inherently want to less because somebody's going to be there more. Like,
sure.
Like the reason
masturbation is out. Like he says he's doing it more because of the quarantine. It is boredom related.
Right. Like you're like, I find I personally do a lot when I'm just like, oh, I got nothing on the calendar. Like, but it's the bacon, egg, and cheese of choices. I'm on a track.
I agree. I think
it's out of opportunity.
It's like it's like hard drugs. Like like it is because you notice in those towns where the factory closes down and they're like, we got a real problem with prescription medication. That's the same thing with masturbation. When the factory in your apartment, when your work closed down and you get to work from home, we got a real problem with masturbation in this town. Like, that is a part of it. So idle hands is the penis's work thing. I don't know. So like I
don't know.
I don't know. Isn't there a saying where idle hands?
I think it's like not from our part of the Bible.
The devil's playground, the devil's something. Sticking shampoo bottles up his ass. I don't know. I'm just saying that. So this problem gets solved exactly in the way Allison's saying, where more people around, more things to do. You're sitting on the couch together. Yes, you have more sex is more available to you because you're living with someone who wants to have sex with you. But I don't think like sex happens more because you live together. I think like it's sectioned off into like periods of your day.
Will be different then.
Yeah, the way it comes to fruition is different. I have had moments where I'm like, masturbation is different than sex to me. Like it's more like, to me, it's like it's more of a vacation from everything. Like this is me going to the Bahamas for a couple minutes in my brain. So I did have those moments where I'm like I'm like a little pent up, I'm stressed, and I'm like, and I do the thing where I go, oh, it's been like 3 days since I've cleared the pipes. Yeah. And then I'll, I think you excuse yourself to a long shower and you kind of like don't talk about it. I think going in the bathroom and going, I'm going to fucking bust one out on the toilet. Like, you don't have to give away that much. You can allude. You don't have to say it. You can do it without saying it.
And also, like, for a little bit of a female perspective, like, I guess his girlfriend is aware he does it. But, like, we know, like, everybody masturbates and, like, women do too. And, like,
sure.
Don't like assume that she's gonna be like, did you just jerk off? Get the fuck out of here! I think she's gonna you don't need to.
If she doesn't understand, that's a problem.
Yeah, there's a bigger relationship problem that you need to solve.
If she's like, did you take that shower? If she like gets done with she's like, that was an 11-minute shower. It only takes you 3 minutes normally. What are you doing in there? And it's like, at that point you have to go, okay, we got to figure this out.
Have some boundaries, but like, I think like, just lump it in with you're both going to need alone time. Lump it in with your alone time. Like she will be doing that too.
Also, this all changes the minute the quarantine lets out. Quarantine, like your masturbation schedule with a roommate, with a significant other, is going to be so different than when you live together, with work and
friends or at work or like.
Yeah, like I'm definitely having those moments where I'm like, like, oh man, like she goes to work and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna like this guy, my kingdom, seed everywhere. I'm already looking at plants, so I get it. So I think like you're going to be fine. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. We are sponsored, people. The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Feel CBD. I love Feel CBD. I actually am a big time user of this. Every morning I take a squirt and put it under my tongue. And I feel good. I don't know. I don't know why. I just feel good and I feel more at ease. If you feel a little anxious or ever just can't fall asleep, you're not alone. We all feel that way. And that's why you should try Feels CBD. Feels is a premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. What I like about Feels is that they know this is a new venture for you. Because I was like you. I was like, I don't know. And then I started putting it on my tongue. You can talk to, they have a phone number. They have a hotline with real humans that you can call and ask for advice, ask questions. And I love that. They're really open about how this is kind of a new thing. And if you've never tried CBD before, let me demystify it for you. It will not get you high. It makes you feel a little bit more relaxed and nothing more. There's no high hangover addiction. I use it every morning. Feels gets to work fast. Just put a few drops under your tongue and boom, you'll be feeling the difference within minutes. If you've never tried CBD and a little nervous, Feels is a great place to start. Let me reiterate that, okay? They make the dosages very clear, and then you start. I recommend start with the lowest dosage, work your way up until feels right. And if you're not sure, again, Go to that hotline. They have real humans you can call anytime. Once you add CBD to your life, you're going to want to make it a regular part, so sign up with Feels so you get it delivered every month. You'll save money on every order. Feels helps me feel my best, and it can help you too. Special offer for my listeners. If you become a member today by going to feels.com/JTrain, you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/JTrain to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. One more time, that's feels.com/JTrain and feel better. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Allison Libby at Allison Libby. This is a little bit of a long one. Friend making on dating apps.
Okay.
I don't like this subject already.
Me neither.
I'll get right to it. Met a guy off Hinge right before quarantine started. We've talked every day since. He works for a nonprofit, and I'm working from home at the moment. His work needed help packing meals for students who aren't in school. So when he asked if I was available, I decided that I could help. This to say we saw each other frequently at the food packing site. I don't like this.
No.
I don't like this is happening a lot right now. And I don't mean to sound like the fucking Grinch, but the idea, people are like, right now there's a lot of ways to help out.
Yes.
And we all want to help. I mean, the idea that someone's sitting at home being like, fuck that group, fuck that, that's not what it is.
Right. No.
We all want to help wherever we can. And Allison, I'm sure you get this a lot as comics, people's first thought is, oh, let's do a comedy show for charity. And then they don't pay you, and they go, well, it'll be good exposure. And, like, I understand where that comes from, but at the same time, like, us comedians, our pay stopped. So, like, it's weird to, like, I would never go up to someone, you know, without a job and be like, hey, so we're trying to help people without jobs. And, like, the problem is when you're without a job and they ask you to help the people without jobs, you go, I have no fucking job.
Help me.
Yeah. So so it's tough because right now, none of us want to sound like a bad person. You don't want to be the one that's like, you know, but this guy came on a dating app and you're there. The whole premise of being on a dating app is that you're there to meet someone to date. And then the minute he's like, hey, I got this thing going on where we pack lunches. Like, what are you going to say? Fuck those kids. Like,
right. Also, like you want him to like you in some way. Like, you're going to be like, yes, I'm a good person. I want you to I don't like that.
So this is already muddled. He asked if I was available. I decided that I could help. This to say we saw each other frequently at the food packing site. As we both had been exposed to the same people for about a week, we decided it was probably okay to go on a few walks together. This is also where the stick woman is a fucking idiot. Like, we all are doing our own bedside fucking thing. Like, so, okay. Basically, we have seen each other since quarantine has started and spoken every day. However, I noticed that he was never really flirty with me and has always super polite. At first, I thought maybe he was just a good guy, not like we were going to be touching each other anytime soon anyways. But as time went on, the normal flirty banter never came. I started to get more bold and initiated some of it myself, and it was never reciprocated, leading to me to ask him the question I hate, what are you looking for here? Luckily, I did. He basically friend-zoned me, which is okay. But my issue is he acted like it was my fault to expect things to go in a more romantic direction. He basically said he was on Hinge to meet friends and that he was sorry if he led me on. Was it crazy for me to think that if we were to continue to talk regularly every day after we met on a dating site, we would be interested in dating one another? Or is this just his way of letting me down easy, that I'm not his type? He is insisting that he really wants me in his life. I don't really see the point if we aren't going to continue dating a path. When should the intentions be established? Allison, what do you think?
I mean, I think this guy's an asshole.
I agree. I'm so on board with him being an asshole.
He's an asshole.
This is back to what I'm talking about. There's a person who's confused, and then there's the person who's lying.
Right.
She is rightfully confused. She's like, I'm on a dating site.
100%. Like, you are not crazy for thinking that it would be a romantic relationship and not a friendship. Like, unless the first thing out of his mouth when he was on Hinge was, I'm just here for friends. I'm not.
Yes.
And then, okay, then it's on you if you continue that. But
totally.
He didn't do that. So he either, like, the options are he's lying and, like, this is his way of, like, being like, I'm not into you, which is insane. Or he's genuinely using this for friends, and that's more insane.
Yes, they're both insane. I hate this person so fucking much because he's doing the version of, and this happens on social media. He is right. Like, baseline, he's right. In a world of black and white, of vacuums where no nuance exists, he can go, what, you don't want to be friends? Right. I was just being a nice guy. We're helping kids pack their lunch. And it's like, he can go fuck himself. Yeah. It's making her the bad guy.
Have to be like, I don't want to be your friend. And now she's the dick for saying that to him. Like, no, fuck this guy.
Yeah, this guy, fuck his world, fuck all of the things he's doing, because what he's doing is he's living in a land where no one can ever look him in the face and be like, yeah, no one wants a fucking friend. Like, very few people will look at him and go, no one wants to be your friend.
Right.
People want to date you and see if they're good enough as a match, and you trick them.
Yes.
JTrain Podcast, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Situationship clinger, I want out. Here with Allison Libby, @Allison Libby on Instagram. Go follow. I'll get right to the point. Met this guy on Bumble in September. Went on a few dates, hooked up a few times for a couple of months until this chick Instagram DM'd me saying we were both fucking him at the same time. He was telling us both the same shit, indicating he wanted something serious. I didn't want a relationship to start with that much drama, so I didn't want a relationship to start with that much drama, so I broke things off and told him no hard feelings. He resurfaces every few months and we exchange texts. We usually meet up and hook up. Okay. During the quarantine, he has not left me alone. Keeps trying to get me to come over and hook up. And since he wants me to be his girlfriend, what the fuck? I've reiterated I don't want to risk mine and his health. It's getting on my nerves. I don't see a future with this guy. What, if anything, do I need to say to this guy to break up this weird situationship that I have no interest in? We don't even have interesting text conversations at this point. It's just strange. Help. Thanks for letting me put my brain on the shelf for an hour every day. What do you think?
Just stop talking to him. You don't need him. Like, I think that, like, if you just stop responding, like, I don't think she's reaching out at this point. I think he's just, like, DMing the shit out of it. So, like, just don't. And, like, if it gets to a point where you have to, like, block him on Instagram, just fucking do it. Like, she clearly does not want anything from him. Like, he also sounds like, again, an asshole. Like, never wanted a relationship with a guy who would, like, be like that with someone else. Anyway, I don't know.
I know. And I think a lot of women who message this podcast, and this is just from the emails I get obsessed with the why. So they keep going with it, thinking they're going to figure this out along the way. I'll tell her the why. Okay? I'll tell her what's going on so that she can move on. He's only she says, since the quarantine, he has not left me alone. Yeah, because everyone's rotation shrunk. The possibility, he can't go out on a Saturday and find this, like, maybe girl that might suck his dick. So he's going back to the list of people who have sucked his dick and bothering them to see if they'll bring fruit from this text. And right now he's finding out you won't bear the fruit. So again, what Allison said is correct. You should stop texting, stop responding. I think you should block on social media. I think what makes people text people is this, like, weird, oh, we're Instagram friends, so we're cool. Like, so, like, I have Instagram just gives you a reason to reach out.
Yes. It's another, like, pathway.
Yes. And it makes it, and it puts you on nice pathway. There's no, like, when you text out of the blue, you have to go, hey, again, I'm real sorry, but I've thought a lot about you. And when you DM someone, you go, hey, love those shoes. And that's the reason you're there.
And they can respond to something that you've put out there, whereas a text is like actually like you two, like someone being like, I'm reaching out and saying hello, as opposed to like, oh man, that does look like a good steak. Huh. Anyway, what are you up to?
Anyways, how's the quarantine been? I haven't been blown in a month. You know, like I agree with you. It's like, you know, a text actually takes vulnerability. Yeah. A text actually takes, you have to, you can't just like knock on someone's door and then not say why you're there. Instagram, that you can't just like knock on someone's door and go, oh, the steak smells good. No, but Instagram it's kind of like whenever you put up a story, whenever you put up a post, it's you to the people following you going, check out the steak. What do you think? And then you get to go, I do like the steak and I like getting blown.
Yeah.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Allison Libby @Allison Libby. Let's do this one. Hey, J-Train, been listening since the TFM podcast days. I've gotten several people aboard. Thank you, Totes Preach. Anyways, I have a roommate who is not social distancing. 4 of us live in an apartment and are all friends. One of our friends is in a frat and continues to go out with friends and party. It makes the rest of us a little uncomfortable. Is there any way we can address this with him? One thing that complicates it slightly is he's often is hanging out and partying directly upstairs. We were all friends with the guy up there, so he'll come down into our apartment, and I know he'll pressure him into coming out. Obviously, we don't want to look like we're telling him what to do. Anyways, any advice would be appreciated. What do you think?
Oof.
Really tough. Really tough.
It's tough, and I get it, and people are very sensitive. Like, I think just having an honest conversation where you're like, hey, like, I'm all down for, like, you having a good time, but, like, it does make me personally, as a person who lives in this apartment, feel unsafe if you keep coming and going.
Yeah. I think making it about you, where you go, instead of being like, dude, because he can party. He has the freedom to do whatever the fuck he wants. He wants to go upstairs, he can do that. But you have freedom of movement, but there's no freedom of consequence, of judgment. So you could come down. I would have all 3 guys.
Yeah, you all have to be like united on that too.
Same page. Well, yeah, it sounds like they are. And I would sit them down and be like, hey, man, we're having a house meeting. Having a house meeting. And I would have the 3 guys on the same page before the house meeting go, hey, we just want to let you know every time you leave, we don't mind that you can do whatever you'd like, but while you're doing everything you'd like, you're putting all 3 people in here in what we feel to be danger. We feel to be danger. You might not agree with the danger, but we feel that the danger is there. And it's not that we don't trust who you're hanging out with. It's just we don't know who those people are hanging out with and those people are hanging out with. And everything the CDC says is that this disease doesn't have to be, you don't have to have the sniffles to be spreading it.
Right.
And that's what we're worried about, is that you don't have the sniffles and you're meeting someone else who doesn't have the sniffles and they are, and just say,
yeah.
And man, and we totally, and I would even say, we totally get, we want to party too. We're upset. We don't want to go out. If that's something you need to do, then maybe you need to go like live at home or go like stay with the friend upstairs and not come back down here, pack a bag. But if you can handle like the world that as it's presented today, we definitely want to live with you. We want to make sure this is okay. That's the way you got to present it. I think saying to him like, dude, you fucking idiot, you keep partying.
Yeah.
That's never going to get through.
Yeah. And also like, just have don't like tiptoe around this for just have a conversation. Like it's not right. And like, I think like, the average decent person, like hearing that would be like, oh, these are my friends. And they like greater good is a real thing that most people do care about. And like, he wants to keep living with you. So just make him realize that.
But hey, tonight we're having a house meeting. Come hang out. We're going to have beers. Like I would make it like, don't make it like, hey, we're excommunicating you. I think that's I think what we're seeing, like comics have been dealing with cancel culture, and it was like no comic believes you should say anything with no consequences. But we also, I think there's like the middle ground of like, you also want to believe that the people that are coming down on you can find retribution in you. That can say, hey, I don't like that joke. Like, that's the problem I think comics have with cancel culture is that then they go off the deep end. They're like, well, I'm going to say everything I want. It's like,
there's unfortunately not a lot of room for mistakes and ignorance in cancel culture. Like, this guy might not realize what you're explaining to him. And like, give him
how it makes you feel. He might think you feel the same way about it that he does.
Right. So like, give him the chance to like learn that and figure that out. And then if he continues to have a problem, like to go out and like not give a shit, then kick him out.
Then it's a different conversation.
Right.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Let's do one more here with Allison Libby. Allison, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
So much fun.
We'll do one. This is perfect. Been listening to you up for a little bit now and new to the J-Train podcast since quarantine and use your daily rants and updates to wind down after my day at the hospital. Who knows? Maybe this is a better you up question. I trust your judgment. Let's go to it. Quick question. Is it worth paying to upgrade Hinge or Bumble? For example, Bumble says I have 21 matches in my Beeline, whatever that is, that I can't see unless I upgrade. But wouldn't they show up if I swiped right on them? Been back on the apps as a distraction during this wild COVID ride and looking to maybe try to capitalize on the other side. Your advice would be greatly appreciated. What do you think?
First of all, thank you for your hospital work. Whatever you're doing there is so important.
Killing it.
I'm not on the app, so I don't know. But like, while yes, it's a dating app, it's also still a tech app that wants you to spend more time on it and more money on it. And like, I don't know, part of me thinks that you're right. You would see those people at some point if you.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
They just
it's
want
not worth. Here's what I will say to anyone on the
aunt trying to set you up with someone. It's a tech company.
Yes, exactly. Here's what I would say to anyone right now from the world of comedy. I know this, and from being on social media, there are more eyes on social media right now.
Yes.
There are generally, I'm getting more likes, I'm getting more interaction, I'm getting more comments. That is why I am putting out more. So the same goes for the dating apps. There's more eyes, there's more interactions. If I am out there, I'm not paying for more, but I'm realizing I can get more matches right now than I would when this thing lets out.
Yes.
Like, so much of this is seasonality. The summer, you don't get as much matches as the fall because people are looking to date in the fall. People aren't. So quarantine, you're going to get more matches. I would tell this guy, anyone out there, I would collect matches. I've given this advice a little bit already, but I would collect matches just like we said in the beginning. Yeah. Collect them all. Write down the names, write down the experience you had with them, give them your number. Hey, I'll be around. I'm singling around when this thing lets out.
Yeah.
You let me know. So, but I would say to this guy, the positive in this is that there's more people on those apps than there have ever been.
Yes.
Like booze, drugs, dating apps, masturbation, and social media. All up right now.
All at an all-time high.
You're just killing it on all those fronts. So trust in that. I think like the time to pay for it is like the slow times, like even if you do pay for it, but like, hey, you're in a rut over the summer. You're not seeing as many people. Yeah. You'd like to get out more. That's a time to pay for it. Now is not the time to pay for it.
Now it's a buyer's market.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Allison Libby, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Oh, always a blast just to talk to you, hang with you. I want everyone to go follow @Allison Libby on Instagram. Go. I'm Jared Freid. We're here every single day, Monday through Friday, and then we're really putting some stuff out there. And also, I put out, if you're listening now, I have put out an in memoriam for Wood, the big black dude with a huge penis. It's a very special podcast. We put a lot of work into it. Share it. Tell a friend, tag someone. We want people to see it. It's very funny. There's a lot of guests. So we'll be back next episode. Boom.